Okay, my lovely 5th grade scientists, so this is the science lab. I have some things laid out to show you that we are going to be using this year and that you'll be using for the rest of your life in your science classes. Don't mind the mess back there. All right, so here we have a few things. These are tweezers. You've probably seen these before. They're used for picking up tiny little objects. This is a compass. It's used for telling which direction is north. It actually has a magnet inside of it that gets attracted to the iron in the Earth's surface. Or not the Earth's surface, the Earth's core, sorry. And speaking of magnets, we have a couple of magnets right here. All magnets have a north and a south pole. This one does too. One's north, one's south. The magnets are used for they're attracted to different metals, such as the iron in these nails and paper clips, just like the compass is attracted to the iron in the earth. This is a microscope. You've probably seen one of these before. This is used to view very tiny things. You can put a slide in here and then put your eye up here, and you can see little tiny particles much bigger. And then these are hand lenses or magnifying glasses. They kind of do the same thing. All microscopes and hand lenses have curved lenses that actually refract the light. We're going to learn about that this year and make things look bigger. This is a collecting net that you can use for collecting bugs or any other kind of specimens. These are stopwatches. You've probably seen these before. They're timers, is another word for them. We use those to time ourselves when we're doing experiments. This is a calculator. I'm sure you've seen one of those. We will use calculators for calculating data sometimes. This is a funnel. A funnel is used to pour something out of a very large container into a very small container. This is a tuning fork. You might have seen one of these in music class. It makes vibrations whenever you hit it on something, and we're going to learn more about that when we talk about sound energy. We're also going to talk about light energy and how light is reflected through mirrors like this, and how it's refracted through prisms like this. A prism captures the whole spectrum of light and separates it out into different colors like a rainbow. These are hot plates. These are used for heating materials that we might need to heat up in the lab. And now we're going to move on to our measuring devices. So this is what's called a triple beam balance. Triple for 3 because it has 3 different weights that you can move on here to take the mass of an object. You put something here, and then when this is balanced out to 0, you read the mass on here. We'll learn more about that later. And then this is just a regular little scale. You can put things in there to get the mass. This is called a bucket balance. There's also a pan balance that looks the same as this, except it's flat pans instead of little buckets. And you use these weights that are different grams to even this out to find the mass of whatever you put in this side. And when it's equal, that's when you know you have the weight or the mass. This is a spring scale. It has a spring inside, and you can actually hang something on this hook, and I was trying to demonstrate it for you, but it pulls down. See how that moves? It pulls down and tells you the mass that way. You can also read the force in newtons from a spring scale. It gives you 2 different measurements. These are what we measure length with. I'm sure you've all seen a ruler before. You measure length in centimeters and inches with a ruler. This is a meter stick. This is 1 meter long. It's kind of like a yardstick, but a little bit longer because it's metric, and we'll talk about that also. And you'll talk about that in math. A meter stick has 100 centimeters You see 90 right there, then 10 more. This would be 100 centimeters as a meter. These are thermometers. They come in all different kinds. We use these to measure temperature of liquids, or temperature of anything really. The temperature is how hot or cold something is. These are different types of graduated cylinders. If you look, you can see that there's numbers, and this is volume. We can take the volume of a liquid in milliliters. See the little ml at the top? So if we need a certain amount of milliliters, we'll use a graduated cylinder. Now beakers kind of do the same thing, except beakers don't have, they're not as detailed. You can have little bitty beakers, medium beakers, this huge beaker. But like the graduated cylinders, you can measure in very much smaller increments of milliliters than you can a beaker. See how it goes from 50 to 100 to 150? So there's no marks in between to make it more precise. This is what's called a flask. We don't really use these in 5th grade. That is something that you would usually heat a liquid in if you needed to do an experiment. These are measuring cups. We don't really use these that often. We use the graduated cylinders and beakers more. And measuring spoons. Mostly we use graduated cylinders and beakers. All right, let's move on to our safety equipment. Here we have safety gloves. You will use these when you're handling something hot, because you don't want to burn your hands. And then these are safety glasses and safety goggles. These are used to protect your eyes. And now what you've all been waiting for, I'm going to put on my safety goggles. And I'm going to put my hair back. Because I don't want to get any of this in my eyes. Sorry, I'm putting my hair back. Okay. All right, so these are raw eggs. Raw eggs have kind of the same stuff in them that our eyes are made of. It's really soft with a membrane around it. And I'm going to show you how different liquids can affect your eyes. Now, if you look at these, they all pretty much look like a clear liquid, like water, right? So you wouldn't really know the difference. You have to be careful in the science lab. This one's a little more cloudy. That's bleach. I got the wrong kind, so it's not exactly clear, but we're gonna use it anyway. All right, so I'm gonna take this first one. I'm gonna give these a little while. As you can see, this is peroxide, and it looks like it's cooking the white of the egg. This one is vinegar. It also looks like it's cooking the white of the egg. This is the one that was actual water, and I got a little mess here. We always want to clean up our messes. This one is bleach. It's working a little slower, but you can see that it's cooking it as well. So we're going to come back and check these later on and see if they've done anything else.